Hey, this is Stad, and this is a pet guide for Ragnarok X. Now the short version of this guide is, I'm going to click on pets, go to assignment here, copy what I have, get 6 pets, put a passive main stat, they're called base mastery stats, get 6 of these on each of your 6 pets, and also get the blessing on your main pet. Now this advice is only if you use strength, int, or dexterity. If you use agility, I would swap out this blessing with increased agility as a skill, and it gives you over 100 agility instead of this blessing. And that's the short version of this guide. So let's talk about pets and what they have to offer. So in the encyclopedia here, what do we have? Each one gets a talent. They get 3 characteristics and 3 pet skills. Now, if you get a rare pet, the orange or the fantasy ones, they get 4 pet skills. And the fantasy pets even get 4 characteristics and a fancy talent skill. I'll go over these later. So after you catch a pet, you'll see its rarity. You'll get the cage. And then after you open it, you'll see which talent it chooses. Because there's little RNG here, like the vocal and the pouring, there's different talents. So as you open the cage, you see what talent it has. And then after you open it, you can go click develop characteristic and reveal the characteristic that it has to give you. All right, let's talk about characteristics. They're sometimes called traits. So if you click on the encyclopedia, it's called view skills down here. Let's just ignore why it's called view skills. So in the battle trait, you can see all the traits listed. There's 58 of these, I've counted them, ignoring the rarity. So the first trait that you get, the odds are 1 in 58 of whatever you're gonna get. But you can also re-roll these. So if you go to check one of your pets, what to develop, and go to characteristic, you could use these enlightenment potions, and these things cost 10,000 crystals each. You need 2 of them, so it's 20,000 crystals to re-roll a trait. And when you do this, you get the best of 2. Now how the odds work out is it's 1 in 28 to get the trait that you want, ignoring rarity. So that means you got to do this 28 times on average to get the one that you want, which is over 500,000 crystals, by the way. Just keep that in mind. If you're trying to like re-roll for traits, it's about 500,000 on average to get the one that you want. So for the traits that I'm going for, I'm a priest, right? So I'm using this rocker, and the rocker gives me magic attack as a talent, and my 2 characteristics are undead and demon research, the ones that I care about, because I kill demons and undead monsters. I'm a priest. But what characteristics do you want? You probably want to focus on a certain mob, and if you check all the characteristics, you'll find that there are these research traits, and you can get one for each of the categories. There's one for attribute, there's one for size, and there's one for its race. So say you wanted to target a pouring, right? Pourings are a medium-sized plant race with water for its attribute. So you would want to get medium-sized research with plant-based research with water research, and all 3 of those would help you do more damage against the pouring. What's fun is undead is both a trait and a race. So in here it's listed twice, undead research and then undead research. But one of these is the trait and the other one is the race counter. And yeah, good luck figuring that one out. So each of these traits can be leveled up as well, and it can be a little bit expensive. So they start at level 1. And it costs about 250,000 to get the max rank on a white skill. On a blue skill, it's about 3 times as much, so about 750k. And a purple trait is about 3 times the blue, and a gold trait is about 3 times the purple. So just keep that in mind. Those kind of add up pretty quickly. All right, let's talk about the pet skills. So if you check out here, the tooltip for the pet skills, you have to click learn and you can get the pet skill tooltip right here. This is just telling you that each of these pets get 3 skills unless you're a fantasy pet, which you get 4. Duplicate skills don't work. And you could replace a skill that you already have. There's a lot of RNG here. I highly recommend getting 1 skill per pet before going for 2, because you'll just blow away the first skill that you got. And it sucks, because these things are very, very powerful. And if you lose them, you could lose a lot of power. So I'll get into that in a little bit. The other part of this is how you get these skill books. You get them by burning Odin. Now, I think you should kill small mobs with your Odin, because you burn twice as much with medium mobs, and I feel like if you kill 2,000 mobs, you probably have a higher chance of getting more of these skill books than killing 1,000 mobs. So I highly recommend killing small mobs for those chances. But I've gotten skill books in the mail from rewards. There's an event for the music event. You can get a couple of skill books from there as well. And they'll give you chests too, where you get to choose. It's like a selection chest. And now, because skills can replace existing skills, I recommend going for one skill on each pet, just for starters. Now, I actually YOLO'd this one on my vocal here, where I put the blessing on. But if I lost my int, I would at least have the int from the blessing, so it wouldn't be a catastrophic loss. But now that I have 6 pets that all have int, I'm not going to touch these without another pet. So I have a 7th pet, and I'm really glad I have my 7th pet. I already wasted 4 scrolls on that. I'm trying to get Vit and int on the same pet. And I started with Vit, and then I put int on it and overrode it. Then I put Vit on it and overrode that. And I put int on it again and overrode that. So I've learned 4 skills, and it's got 1 skill left because it keeps on overriding it. So I highly recommend getting a 7th pet, just so you don't lose any power. So I basically use 2 pets. I have my vocal pet for my PvE and my wolf for my PvP. And the rest are just stat sticks. They're just going to be hanging around giving me stats. Just keep that in mind. Maybe for you, you want to have a different pet for PvP and PvE.